welcome to Bowles' Theory of Everything. The subject today, what are trial ends? They're not to do with judgments. We're not being judged as people. What we are doing though is judging the green, judging how the bowls run, judging the conditions, assessing what hand we're going to bowl. So, trial ends are warm-up ends played before the official start of a match or competition. They're not scored and are primarily for players to assess the green's speed and conditions, adjust their delivery accordingly, get a feel for the day's setup, including wind and bias effect. It's a bit breezy this evening, but not too strong. Most competitions allow 2 trial ends, one in each direction, though some formats may differ. Some games allow 1 trial end. Some start the game, but only allow 1 shot for each of the first 2 ends. Why do they matter? Trial ends can make or break your early game. Here's why they're crucial. Green speeds vary daily, even on a familiar green like our home green here. Morning dew, recent mowing, weather changes can drastically affect pace. As well as the weather, wet ground and length of the grass, the rinks can be shifted up and down in order to even out the wear. So don't just assume that it's your home rink and you know it inside out. You don't need to bother. Don't be careless on the trial end, because, for example, the last one I said, when the rinks are moved, it moves a swing. On rink 5, which you can see down where the jack is, there was a bit of a swing on the forehand. But then when the rinks were moved by that much, that swing, instead of swinging like this on the forehand, it switched to the backhand, which then became a straight backhand. So I can't describe that, I can't show you that together, but that was what was happening. You can't assume you know the rinks. You can't assume you know the speed. The wind makes a difference, the length of the grass, so be careful even if you're the home player. It's a confidence builder. Getting bowls down in a low stakes context can settle the nerves. You have to approach the trial ends as if they're the start of the real game. So you have to concentrate. You don't treat them like a casual jolly. Yes, by all means be friendly with the opponents, but concentrate on those first 2 or 3 trial ends. The ideal approach to trial ends: firstly, have a plan. Don't just roll up casually. You know what you want to learn. Test both hands. Just a message to all you viewers. I do apologise for the sound. The wind is blowing a bit gusty. Every now and then it affects the sound. I hope it doesn't spoil your pleasure for this video. Thank you. Try different weights, the draw and the yard on. Focus on your lines and pick your aiming point that you're going to have, whether it's on the green or on the bank, and then adjust your length. Observe how bowls finish. Are they hooking late, or are they holding? Are there straight runs? Deliver with intention. Treat each bowl like a match delivery. Use your regular pre-shot routine. Eye up, get the grip right, aim, whether you take a practice swing, do that exactly how you're going to do it in the game. Don't do it differently. Try and vary the jack length. Use 1 trial end with a minimum jack and 1 with a maximum jack. This gives a feel for both extremes of weight. Watch your opponent. If you're playing away, watch the lead bowler of the home side. They're often canny, experienced bowlers and have chosen the best side and length to bowl. See how they approach different hands and weights. Take mental notes on strengths and weaknesses. This can help you decide which hand or length to favour. You could start off following them and then move if it doesn't work out. What not to do. Avoid these common mistakes. Wasting bowls with careless deliveries. You have to concentrate on each delivery. You can only adjust if you know exactly how you bowled the previous delivery. You have to have a reference point. Once you have that in your mind, you can then adjust, adding or taking away. Another mistake is only bowling one hand. This limits your tactical options later. However, if you are a lead and you always bowl on one hand, by all means use your trial end just on that same side. Bowl your 2 bowls or 4 bowls even on that same side. Another fault is not adjusting after a poor result. The trial ends are for that purpose. So if you make a mistake, make a note of it and try and correct it on that trial end. Focusing too much on the outcome is another mistake. It's all about information gathering. You need to know the whys and wherefores of each delivery. This applies if there are no trial ends at all, but one shot on each of the first 2 ends. It also applies. Those ends where you get a 1 shot on the first 2 ends, it's only 1 shot. It's worth sacrificing that shot in order to gain a wealth of information so that for the rest of the game, it's about outcome and not the score on those first ends. Think of the long-term effect and the advantages of that. Tactical tips during the trial ends. If conditions are tricky, consider deliberately playing short or long to gauge how far you're off. If rink boundaries are tight, particularly on the end rinks there, test the narrow line and wide lines to find the best margin of safety. And use the final bowl of your trial ends to play a weighted shot, not necessarily a firing shot, because the weighted shots can vary depending on the green you are. Some dive across, some will hold their line. Take all the bowls you're allowed, because for 4 bowls in a singles game, sometimes your opponent will say, oh, shall we just have 2 bowls? No, take all 4, take advantage of that. I used to play triples a lot, and quite often we just said take 2 bowls, and no, our skip said no, I'm going to take all 3 of my bowls. Look carefully at all the bowls delivered on the trial end. Store this information because you will have to bowl and the variety of shots, some of which will mimic those played in the trial ends. If you bowl to a long jack on the first trial end and you want to check out a short jack, but the opposition has put the jack on the tee, get your skip to stand short. You don't have to bowl to the jack on the trial end. Similarly, if somebody's put the jack short and you wish to bowl a long jack, get your skip to stand on the tee and bowl to him on the tee. You don't have to bowl just where the opposition. It's your rink to experiment. Another thing you can do is to take a different set of bowls onto the trial ends. Doesn't often happen, but people can do that. They may want to have their narrow bowls or their swinging bowls. These are my narrow bowls, Vector VS's. These are my Henselite. They swing a bit more, which is the ones I use for outdoors. So it's unlikely I would bowl for that. But if the greens really speed up, I could switch to these. The main purpose is which gives you the best line to the jack. So sometimes your bowl just has that swing, has that straightness, which works on the rink. So if you can fit that in, do so by all means. One last thing, I'll show you the 2 different lines these bowls might take on a trial end. This is my narrow bowl, this is my slightly swinger bowl. So I'll bowl up there and see if that works on this green, and then I could choose which bowl I'm going to have. So here's my red bowl, different lines. This is a narrower bowl. I haven't bowled on here, but the breeze is coming from the backhand side, so I'm going to aim fairly straight on the backhand, but give it a little bit of green. This is a Vector VS, so I'm going to go fairly narrow. The line's good, but it's short. I'll now try this Henselite, which has a wider swing. I'm going to bowl down the same line and see where it ends up. Yes, it's on the same line as that. You see, it has taken a bit more green than the red one. I'll try one other demonstration coming back, and what I get to do is I'm going to bowl to an empty space because the opposition will have put the jack down here, and I'm going to bowl to an imaginary point up at the rink here. So I'm going to bowl up to here. So if I put a marker down here, so everybody else has bowled down to the jack there, I'm going to bowl back to that point here. Here's a demonstration of where it's the second of the trial ends. The first trial end was a full length jack. The opposition have put the jack down on a full length again, but I want to practice going a bit shorter. So I've got my skip to stand where that bowls holder is, the green arrangement. That's about 3 yards short of the jack. So I'm going to put to that marker there on the 3/4 length. So that's not bad. I've got to add a yard on there, but that's not bad. One more yard of weight. That was near the mark. It would have gone a yard past, but that's bowling to that shorter length rather than the jack. Closing thought for the video. Trial ends are like reading the green before a putt. Ignore them at your peril. In addition, don't be bullied on these trial ends. They're your right to put the jack where you want to. If it's not where you want to, bowl to where the skip is. And choose whatever woods you like to experiment in. Don't let the opposition dominate it. You have to have it that suits for yourself. Thank you for all your comments. I love getting them and I've answered them all. Thank you particularly to Valerie, who sent in a comment asking for trial ends. I hope this helps you and all the other viewers. Happy bowling. Here in England, the weather is improving, the greens are getting quicker, and we're enjoying it. It's lovely. Thank you very much once again. Please subscribe to get notices of future videos.